Allah's name Fattah is the name Al-Aalim. Al-Aalim, the one who knows everything, the one who knows the seen, the unseen, whatever there is in the existence to know, Allah knows that. Now Allah's knowledge, this next sifah of Allah, this next attribute of Allah being Al-Alim and knowing, it means He knows all, everything and anything He knows. Now it's easy to say that Allah knows everything, but sometimes it's difficult to try and comprehend what He knows. And our building of Iman lies on the second thing. It's not good just you saying that, I know Allah knows everything. It's not good to say that. That's not enough. That's not enough. That's not going to be enough. What you need to do is you need to start exploring what does Allah know. That's how the Iman increases. A lot of people, what they do is they've read the names once. I know what this name means. That's it, I know Allah's name. No. You're supposed to sit down and you're supposed to ponder over these names. So Al-Alim, which means what? Which means that from His knowledge, He passes knowledge to the creation. From His knowledge, He passes to the creation. Now, one thing that makes me baffled is how the human being has got such a limited mind. Human being has got such a limited mind. And all the human beings together have got such limited minds. Even the whole world together. Every day you look into a scientific magazine, every week you look at a scientific magazine, they've explored something new. They've explored something new. They've got a new breakthrough. They've got a new thing. Today I was just reading, or was it today? Yesterday I was reading about, how they might genetically pass from 3 different human beings to 1 embryo. They might put that in so that that particular child that might have a disease, they might give him a chance to survive. It's going to be a thing that is haram, but nevertheless they're always discovering something new. But Allah has said one thing in the Quran, and He will say this to them on the Day of Judgment. He's already declared this in the Quran. Allah said, بَلْ كَذَّبُوا بِمَا لَمْ يُحِيطُوا بِهِ عِلْمًا وَلَمَّا يَعْلَمُوا تَأْوِيلَهُ. Allah said they have denied, all the people in the world, whatever they've denied of Islam, they've denied of the Quran, they've denied of Iman. Allah said they've denied all of this when they haven't yet discovered everything about it. Their knowledge hasn't become complete on the matter. Their knowledge hasn't surrounded every detailed aspect of that thing. So how is it that they've denied this? Now, for example, if I say to you, that I say to you, look, I've never been to America, so I'm going to deny America. I've never seen America. I've heard of America, fine, but I've never seen America. I'm going to deny. Now you're going to call me, someone who's losing. I'm going to say, no. I'm going to say to you, no, I haven't seen America, so I'm not going to believe in America. I need to travel to America. The day I travel to America, I'll believe it. It's the same as people who are saying that I have not seen life after death. So unless I see life after death myself, I'm not going to believe it. Now, okay, some people might say, well, their argument isn't the same, because from America people can come back and say that I've come back from America and it does exist. But from the Akhirah people can't come back. However, the messengers, salawatullah alayhim wasalamu, have actually traveled and they've come back. And Allah would not give everyone the opportunity to do that. The point is, you can go on denying and denying, and you can ask for evidence. But one thing is absolutely sure, which is that even if you gather the evidence, even if you have a lot of evidence, you still will go through a lot to gather all of that, to try and deny it. But how is it that you're denying something which could be the truth? How is it that you're denying something that could be the truth, and you're never going to get the opportunity to get all the information of the Akhirah, to see everything, to see Allah? Allah's not going to do that. Okay, fine, with America you can travel to America. You can book your ticket, go over there, see it, come back, and I believe in America now. Fine. Allah said you can't come to the Akhirah. Once you come to the Akhirah, you want to commit suicide and get back there, you're not going to come back. You can't come back. There's only one way. Why? Because this is a test. So now, what have you got in front of you? You've got the Quran, you've got the Messenger's lives, you've got the resources in front of you, you've got all the arguments, and you need to pick up the Quran and read it. Read it for yourself and see whether you accept it or whether you deny this. Now the ilm of Allah Azza wa Jal that He has passed down to us, that ilm of Allah Azza wa Jal is complete, but the human's own ilm and his own knowledge is incomplete. This is what the problem is. There's no problem with Allah. There's no problem with the Quran. See, scientists discover the Quran. Scientists discover science. But when they come to the Quran, or when others come to the Quran, their knowledge, their own knowledge is limited. Even limited to the extent that mufassirin, mufassirin, those who do tafsir of the Quran, till today there are mufassirin who are seeing new things in the Quran. Tafsir has not ended. When Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he sat down and he did his tafsir. There were so many mufassir before him. But Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he did his tafsir in a new way. Allah opened his mind, He gave him the knowledge to do his tafsir of his Quran in a new way. Before him, there has been so many different ones. Ibn Abbas rahimahullah, he had already done, radiyallahu anhuma, he had already done his tafsir. Then came the Imam Mujahid, he did his tafsir in a different way that his ustad didn't do. Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma. Then came the tafsir of these early mufassirin who did the tafsir, and they did ahkam al-Quran and so on. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah came. But what about Qurtubi's tafsir? It's different. Imam Qurtubi's tafsir is different. Imam Suyuti's tafsir is different. Imam Suyuti in the 9th century came, 1 century after Ibn Kathir rahimahullah. And he did a tafsir of the Quran al-Itqan. If you look at it, you think, Ya Allah, where did he get this knowledge from? Honestly, if you read Al-Itqan, if you read his tafsir of Al-Itqan and the way he has explained the notes on the Quran and the meanings of the Quran, it absolutely amazes you. And that's why they call him the Mujaddid, they call him the reviver of that century. Now before Ibn Kathir, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he had left a tafsir. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, he's got his tafsir. Imam Razi has got his tafsir. All of these are all different. Imam Razi did more from a philosophical side. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he did it from his own studies of the Quran, and most of this opened to him when he was in prison. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he did it in his own way. But when it came to Ibn Kathir, he did it from the Sunnah. He mainly looked at the Sunnah and he did it tafsir. When it came to Imam Suyuti, he did it from the Lugha, or from the language, he did his tafsir. Then after that you see that a new age comes, and new mufassirin come, and they do tafsir again. Then you had Sayyid Qutb, he did his tafsir about 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, he did his tafsir. Fi Zilal al-Quran, in the shade of the Quran. Complete new way of doing his tafsir. His book is not like any of the other books before. He did it from a political situation, he did tafsir. Now subhanallah al-azim, one book, the Quran. And each one of these, they're all doing their tafsirs in a different way. Till today it hasn't finished. I have a tafsir home done by Imam Wahbat al-Zuhaili, who spent 40 years doing this tafsir. He's still alive. 40 years doing one tafsir of the Quran, and he's got it in 32 volumes. This is a recent scholar. What he's done is he's gathered from all the different ones before, and then he added his own tafsir inside. And he's got, mashallah, a brilliant way of looking at the Quran and doing his tafsir. It's now how many? It's now altogether how many? It's 32 different volumes of the tafsir. But it hasn't ended there. Because even till today there are scholars who are writing on the tafsir. They are making their new tafsir of the Quran, and it will not end. Now the fact is, look, Allah's Quran that He gave, and His ilm and His knowledge is complete. This Quran, one book He gave, people are still bringing new knowledge out, new tafsir out all the time. And Allah has told us, وَلَمْ يُحِيطُوا بِهَا عِلْمًا, their knowledge hasn't surrounded the Quran, so how is it that they deny the Quran? Scientists, on the other hand, they are doing their exploration of the world. They're also learning new things. How is it that you're going to deny a thing when you haven't found out everything about it? How is it that you're going to deny it? Even science will say that our conclusion can't be final until we do further investigation, if they've got further investigation to do. The point here is, Allah Azza wa Jal has given all of those scientists and everyone else their knowledge. Even their knowledge, the studies, Allah has given that. Because Allah has said in the Holy Quran, وَيُعَلِّمُكُم مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. This is in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number 152. Allah said, وَيُعَلِّمُكُم مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. 151. He will teach you those things that you do not know. عَلَّمَكُم مَا لَمْ تَعْلَمُوا آبَاءَكُمْ. Allah said that He has taught you those things that not even your forefathers knew. Who is that? That is the Alim, that is the one who teaches. Now once He teaches us that knowledge, Allah says in the Holy Quran that this person can now become arrogant with his knowledge. There's a big danger. And Allah reminds us in the Quran, in Surah Yusuf, there's a beautiful ayah there. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Above every person of knowledge is another more knowledgeable person. This is humbleness. Above every person of knowledge is another person of knowledge. Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salatu salam, he said that. About why he recognized himself. And Allah Azza wa Jal said that in the Quran. Their recognition was that no matter how knowledgeable you become, you do not become the most knowledgeable person on the earth. Even if you become that, there's always a person more knowledgeable than you. Now to give you an example, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam and Sayyidina Khidr, they are traveling. So here you have Sayyidina Musa traveling with Khidr. Why is he traveling with Khidr? Is because Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu salam, once he was asked a question by his people. So one person asked him a question. He said, "O Musa, who is the most knowledgeable person on the earth right now?" So Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he thought for a while, and he thought, well, I am the Rasul on the earth at this moment, and there can't be anyone who knows more than a Rasul. So he said, I am the most knowledgeable person on the earth right now. When he said that, Allah wanted to teach him that for فَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ, above everyone who knows, there's someone who knows more. So he said, "O Musa, now you must travel to learn. I'm going to make you a student. You think you're the biggest teacher? I'm going to make you a student right now." So Allah Azza wa Jal, I know it's a long story, I'm not going to get into the whole story. But He makes him find Khidr, and this is in the Quran, it's also in Sahih Bukhari. He makes him find him, and then he has his 3 different incidents. But when he's gone on to his first incident, and Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam is on the boat, and Sayyidina Khidr is also on the boat. When they're on the boat, there's a bird that comes and sits at the edge of the boat. And that bird just takes a small sip of water from the ocean. Small sip. Just a couple of sips. Or take something out, and then from there, couple of drops drop down. So Sayyidina Khidr says, now this is the person who knows a lot more than Musa alayhi salam. But Musa alayhi salam knows a lot as well. Musa alayhi salam knowledge is all to do with the seen world, the things that you can see. And Khidr alayhi salam, his knowledge is with the unseen world. So the knowledge Allah gave Khidr, He didn't give Musa, and the knowledge that Allah gave Musa, He didn't give Khidr. And then Khidr says, when he sees the bird, he says, "Oh Musa, do you see the amount that this bird has taken from the ocean?" He said, "That amount that the bird has taken from the ocean is my knowledge and your knowledge put together. Compared to the rest of the knowledge which Allah has, compared to that water which the bird took, the rest of the ocean is Allah's knowledge." Allah Azza wa Jalla has that knowledge. So our knowledge, my whole knowledge of this whole world of the unseen, and yours with the seen world, both together still makes just a drop from a whole ocean of Allah Azza wa Jalla, His knowledge. So وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ, above everyone who has knowledge is another person who has more knowledge. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, He taught that to Musa alayhi salam. And every person who knows this principle and who knows the principle of not surrounding all knowledge becomes humble. That is why Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, he said, كُلَّمَا ازْدَدْتُ عِلْمًا ازْدَدْتُ جَهْلًا. He said, every time I increase in knowledge, I increase in ignorance. Now, that's a contradiction. How can you increase in knowledge and carry on getting more and more knowledge, but at the same time become more and more ignorant? So Imam Shafi explains, what did he mean by that? He said, every time I learn something, I also learn that I never knew this just a moment ago. Yesterday I never knew this. This new knowledge that I got today, I never knew this knowledge yesterday. Or did I know it yesterday? I didn't know yesterday. So yesterday, it shows that yesterday I was a jahil. Yesterday I was an ignorant person. And today I've learned this fine, but there are so many other things that I don't know. And therefore I am ignorant of all the other things that I've learned. I haven't learned yet. And every time I discover something new, it makes me know and recognize that Allah Azza wa Jal is only the one who knows the most. And who knows everything. Who knows everything. And I am the one who just discovering a few parts here and there. So this is one thing for us to become humble. Now, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu salam, he summed it up to Allah. He said, Rabbana innaka ta'alamu ma nukhfi wa ma nu'lin. This is in Surah Ibrahim. He said, oh our Lord, you are the one who knows. Your knowledge is what? Ma nukhfi wa ma nu'lin. The things that we kept secret and we hid, and the things that we displayed and we made apparent, both of those things you know. Both of those things you know. Allah Azza wa Jal has called the Day of Judgment, He has said, يَوْمَ تُبْلَى السَّرَائِرِ. The day when all secrets will be revealed. All secrets will be revealed. And Allah has said about the Day of Judgment, يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. Allah knows the deception of the eyes when they sin, and Allah also knows that which is hidden in the heart. And this is a fearful ayah, because the times that we deceive ourselves by looking at something which is haram, Allah Azza wa Jal reminds us and He says that He is the one who knows that already. So for us is tawbah, and for us is to wipe that away before we come to Allah Azza wa Jal. He also knows, Allah knows the knowledge that we have acted upon, and the knowledge that we haven't acted upon. And Allah also knows that, and He's the one who makes us remember from the knowledge that is given. Allah has said, سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهِ. We will recite, or make this be recited unto you, O Prophet. فَلَا تَنْسَى. But you will not, O reciter, فَلَا تَنْسَى. You will not forget anything from this illa ma sha Allah, except that Allah wills that you forget it. What does that mean? That means that when somebody has knowledge and they don't practice that knowledge, Allah Azza wa Jal can make them forget that knowledge. When somebody practices the knowledge that they've been given, Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu, he says, Man amila bima alima warathahu Allahu ilman bima la ya'lam. He says, and this is a Sahih Hadith, he says, whosoever practices upon the knowledge that Allah Azza wa Jal gave them, then Allah will give them such knowledge that they never even knew. And this is automatically Allah will give knowledge. Automatically Allah will make it easy for people to learn something that they never ever knew before. It will just automatically come in their heart. Allah will make them learn. This is known as ilmul ladunni. This is known as ilm which Allah gives, which is specific knowledge that Allah gives to a human being. And Allah can give it to anyone. Allah can give it to anyone He wants. The secret behind that is to practice upon the knowledge that one already has. So therefore, the dua that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has taught us is, Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una. O Allah, benefit me, make me take benefit from the knowledge that you have already given me, and teach me that which will be beneficial to myself. See, what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in dua has done is that he's connected knowledge to benefit. So, oh Allah, infa'na, benefit me, bima allamtana, with what I've already learned. Make me take benefit from that by acting upon it. وَعَلِّمْنَا مَا يَنْفَعُنَا, and teach me that which will be beneficial. Why? Because you can acquire knowledge that will not be beneficial to you at all. Every moment someone, or every day someone learns something new. And there are people who learn something new that is beneficial to them, and there are people who learn something new that is a total waste of time to them. There are people I know, and I'm sure you will possibly relate to this. There are people who will watch things on the TV, on the satellite, on YouTube, whatever it is, they will watch. And they've seen one thing, they want to see things that are related to them, and they're getting no new knowledge whatsoever that's going to benefit them. Now don't forget, they're learning. It's not that they're not learning, they're learning. But the question is, are they actually benefiting themselves with that knowledge? And they watch, for example, they've watched, maybe they're watching some cars racing or whatever it is, and they will watch something next to that, another F1 Formula racing, and they will watch another racing one next to that on YouTube, and they'll watch another clip and another clip and another clip, and maybe by that time they've diverted a little, and they're now watching something that is to do with boxing, maybe still sports, so they watch something else. Then they probably ended up watching something about animals in the jungle, or maybe they come back to seeing something that people are doing as a hobby or a thing, and they've spent 2 to 3 hours on YouTube flicking through different videos, and at the end of that, whatever they learn, it's going to benefit them by nothing. Nothing in their life is going to benefit them from all the things that they've seen. So they've seen all of this. They've learned all of this, whatever they saw with their eyes, and whatever they comprehended with their minds. But it's not going to be beneficial. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he taught us to say, وَعَلِّمْنَا مَا يَنْفَعُنَا وَعَلِّمْنِي مَا يَنْفَعُنَا. O Allah, teach me or teach us that which will benefit us. Now, to Allah Azza wa Jal, وَإِلَيْهِ يُرْجَعُ الْأَمْرُ كُلُّهُ. To Allah returns everything. There's certain knowledge. Now, please let me just say this here. Allah has knowledge of everything. There's certain knowledge that is very dangerous. There's certain knowledge that you don't want to even go into. For example, if you start using your ilm, and you start using your capacity to learn and to know things, and you delve into qadr, you delve into the things and fate and predestination, you're going to lose yourself. You're going to, like Sayyidina Ali said, he said, Bahrun Amiq Taghraq. He said, it's a very deep ocean, you will get drowned in it. So there's no point of going through that knowledge. There are certain knowledges in the world, absolutely corruption. For example, the knowledge of learning how to do black magic is in Surah Baqarah. Surah Baqarah, Allah said He sent 2 angels to the earth, and He said that He will teach them. Why did they come? They came to show them the difference between a prophet's miracles and magic of the magicians. They wanted to teach them the difference. They wanted to say, look, this is how magic works, and this is something that you can replicate. But what the messengers are doing, you can't replicate. You can't do. Therefore, that's why it's called a miracle. So they had to come down to the earth and teach them. In the time of Sulaiman alayhi salam, they had to teach them that, look, this is how magic works. And the moment they taught them how magic works, they told them, don't do this, but I was just teaching you how to do it. But when you tell people don't do it, what do? They want to do it. So they started to learn that, and they started to propagate. And then they did it for reasons that were unlawful. يُفَرِّقُونَ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ. They started to split a husband from his wife through black magic and so on. This is knowledge on the earth, but this is corrupted knowledge. That's why straight after that Allah said, Allah Azza wa Jal, He said, وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُم. They are learning things that are really harmful to them and not beneficial to them at all. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِهِ أَنفُسَهُمْ. Allah said it's such a bad thing that they've bought into their own hands. And Allah said they have started to learn. He said وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا. They learn لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ, or they know, مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. If only they knew that, what they have taken for themselves, it's going to give them no benefit in the akhirah. They've got no portion of it in the akhirah that will benefit them. Allah says, لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ, if only they knew. Now first Allah said they're learning, وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ, they're learning all of this knowledge of black magic. Then Allah said after that, لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ, if only they knew. First Allah said they know, وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا, they do know this. And then Allah said, if only they knew. Why did Allah do this? Because some of these magicians, they knew that this was the wrong thing to do, but they carried on doing it. Allah first established knowledge for them, and then He said they have no knowledge. If only they knew. Why did Allah do that? Because when a person doesn't learn beneficial knowledge, and they're learning something that will harm others, and perhaps harm themselves, that to Allah is no knowledge at all. That to Allah is no, that's why He said, لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ, if only they knew. This is in the Quran. So when people hoard knowledge, one thing today is to hoard knowledge either on paper or on CDs, DVDs, drives, microchips and libraries and books, whatever. Hoard the knowledge. To Allah Azza wa Jal, if the person doesn't act upon that knowledge, uses that knowledge, then that is, Allah has said, كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا. It's like a donkey that will have a whole load of pages on his back. Allah said that in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, 62nd Surah of the Quran. So Allah said, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوا. Those who were given the burden or who were given the responsibility of the Torah, and to implement that, and to tell others about that, and to teach others about that, and they didn't do it. ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا. They didn't then take the responsibility seriously. Allah says they are like donkeys who have pages on their backs. They are people, they are scholars who know knowledge. Allah talked about the rabbis of the past. But the same thing applies to the Muslims. If Muslims have scholars, or they have knowledgeable people who just want to hoard knowledge, and they are brilliant at speaking the knowledge, brilliant at telling you what the sources are, and how this ayah relates to that ayah, and tafsir, and hadith, and tajweed, and fiqh, and the guy is allama. He knows so much, you call him allama, the most knowledgeable scholar around, but his amal, his action is zero, or it's down there, plummeting down there. He prays fine, but then he doesn't pray, and he doesn't act upon all his knowledge. Allah Azza wa Jalla has said, may Allah save me and save you from such people. Allah has said, كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ. They are like a donkey that has pages. Now, if you give a whole load of pages and you put it onto a donkey, what does the donkey know about the pages? All the donkey is doing is carrying that knowledge on its back until to another place where the knowledge will be given away to somebody else. So these scholars in Allah's eyes, all they're doing is they've taken from their ustad, their teacher, and they're carrying it to certain students. That teacher, they took it off, he benefited from it. This scholar, the allama who knows so much, he took it, he carries it like the donkey, he doesn't benefit himself, and he gives it to the other people. They benefit. The new students of his, they benefit. The ustad of it, his teacher, he benefited. Or his teachers, they benefit. In between, there's this person Allah calls a donkey. Allah says he doesn't benefit from it. He's just a donkey that's carried the knowledge from one to another. That's all his job is. That's all he's doing. He's doing nothing more than that. Now that should wake us up, in the sense that the knowledge that I've got, to practice upon that. Now I will tell you brothers, and I will tell you sisters that are listening, knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal is vast. You can learn and you can learn and you can learn and you can learn till you get to your qabr, to your grave. And if you wanted to carry on learning the knowledge that Allah has put on this earth, and you've got the chance in your grave to learn, you can learn until the day of judgment. And you can carry on learning all the way till you get to Jannah or Jahannam, whatever it is, right? But you will never be able to finish the knowledge on this earth. That's how much there is to learn. So what do we have to do? We have to become now wise in what we choose to learn and what we choose not to learn. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, one of his duty was يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابِ, he will teach the book, fine. But then he will teach wisdom, the application of knowledge. Wisdom is the application of knowledge. Where to put that knowledge? So when I've learned what is beneficial, what is not beneficial, for me to know what to do in life, what not to do, for me to know how and when to apply my knowledge, that is hikmah, that is wisdom. So every prophet came with wisdom, with the knowledge that they actually possessed. Now Allah Azza wa Jal, having His knowledge, Inna rabbaka yafsilu baynahum yawm al-qiyamah, Allah has said, on the day of judgment, I will make it absolutely clear to you, between all the things that you used to dispute about, all the things. So there's certain things that I don't understand today. I shouldn't break myself, make myself feel miserable because of the fact that I don't know this. No. Allah Azza wa Jal, He will reveal everything on the day of judgment. His knowledge will be displayed on the day of judgment. Anything that didn't make sense will make sense. There are so many questions people have. Some of these questions I've already covered in previous things, but for example, when Allah Azza wa Jal, He knows exactly what's going to happen on the day of judgment. He knows what my inside was. He knows what my history was. He knows what every single choice that I made was. When Allah Azza wa Jal said, knows all of that, but then at the same time, He doesn't do dhulm. He doesn't commit oppression. So when Allah doesn't commit oppression, and He knows everything I've done, end of the day, when I get to Him on the day of judgment, He's already declared to me in the Quran, there's going to be no excuse for you on the day of judgment. The only thing you can have is my forgiveness and my mercy. So I can't sit here and start to deny Allah or make myself feel miserable because there's a knowledge that I don't understand. How is it that Allah knows all about me and my future and He doesn't want to stop me from going to Jahannam? How is it that He's going to, on the day of judgment, this will happen, that will happen? When I was a person that had this unfortunate thing on the world and that unfortunate miserable thing, I was restricted with this thing and that thing. All of that will leave to Allah Azza wa Jal. And He will explain to us on the day of judgment. So one last thing with Al-Aalim, or the fact that Allah Azza wa Jal, He knows everything, is the case that I am going to take knowledge from whatever I can beneficial from Allah Azza wa Jal and from the best sources that I can find. And please don't think that only the Quran and Sunnah have beneficial knowledge. Beneficial knowledge is anywhere in the world. Anywhere. It could be in science, it could be in maths, it could be in English. It's all beneficial. If it wasn't beneficial, if these weren't beneficial, if this wasn't beneficial, yeah? أتكلم معكم الآن بالعربية وأكثركم معظمكم لا تفهمون كلامي. If Arabic was the only beneficial thing, and if Quran was the only beneficial, then let me speak Quran, let me speak Arabic to you. Most of you wouldn't understand. But I've used the English language for you to understand, yes or no? I've used this English language for you to understand. So English language has a benefit. Maths has a benefit. History has a benefit. All the knowledges of beneficial knowledge across the world has whatever they have, they're beneficial, and they are knowledge which Allah Azza wa Jal has given us to learn. So bear that in mind as well. There are certain people who can't accept, they think that Quran, Sunnah, that's it. Nothing more. No, there's so many things out. Yes, Quran, Sunnah is very good. But outside of that, there are loads of other beneficial knowledges. For example, this chair I'm sitting on. It's a whole knowledge how to make the chair. It's a whole knowledge of craftsmanship. It's a whole knowledge. Art is a knowledge. All these things we need in the